10 days. That's all Sandra Bullock had between her Oscar win and the moment her entire marriage exploded across every front page in America. 10 days of celebration before the world caved in. But here's the thing the headlines never told you. While all of that was happening, there was a newborn baby boy sleeping in her house. A son the world didn't even know existed. And the man she had just thanked on that Oscar stage, the man she said finally taught her what it felt like to have someone in her corner, he knew that baby was home. He knew. And he did it anyway. For 16 years, Sandra said almost nothing. Tabloids invented quotes. She shut them down. But slowly, in her own words, on her own timeline, she revealed the one thing that made this divorce not just likely, inevitable. And here's what might surprise you. It wasn't the cheating. Plenty of Hollywood marriages survive cheating. It was when he did it. And who was asleep down the hall when he did. By 2003, Sandra Bullock was 39 years old and America's sweetheart. Speed. Miss Congeniality. The woman every man in the country claimed to love. Went home alone every night. She wanted a family. She just refused to settle for the wrong man to get one. Then she met the most wrong man in Hollywood. She just didn't know it yet. December 2003. A motorcycle shop in Long Beach, California. Sandra was arranging a surprise visit for a child in her family who idolized the shop's tattooed TV star owner, Jesse James. He was everything Hollywood wasn't. Grease under the fingernails, no tuxedos, no pretending. She later admitted that's exactly what drew her in. He felt honest. Remember that word. It's coming back in the cruelest way imaginable. July 2005, they married at a private ranch. She was 40 years old and had waited her whole adult life for that day. And she didn't just marry Jesse. She married his chaos, 3 children from previous relationships. When his ex-wife went to prison, it was Sandra, not family, not a nanny, who fought in court to help raise his little daughter. School runs. Custody hearings. A movie star rearranging her entire life around another woman's child. She gave him everything. What he was giving back, she wouldn't find out until the worst possible moment of her life. By late 2009, Sandra and Jesse had quietly begun adopting a baby boy from New Orleans. In January 2010, he was born. They named him Louis and told no one. Not the press, not the public. They wanted his first months protected, sacred. But here's where the timeline turns dark. January 17, 2010. The Golden Globes. Sandra wins Best Actress for The Blind Side and stands in front of the world, crediting Jesse. Saying her work got better when she met him because for the first time, she knew what it felt like for someone to have her back. Jesse sat in that audience and smiled. And according to what came out just weeks later, the betrayal was already happening while she thanked him. While their secret newborns slept at home. March 7, 2010. The Academy Awards. Cameras caught Jesse with tears in his eyes. America watched and sighed. What a love story. She had 10 days left. 10 days after the Oscar, a tabloid publishes a story that stopped the country. A tattoo model named Michelle McGee claimed she'd been having an affair with Jesse James. Not a single mistake. An affair running for months. Months that overlapped with Sandra filming The Blind Side. Months that overlapped with the adoption. And when McGee was asked why, her answer made women across America sick. She said she did it out of boredom. That's the exchange rate. A marriage, a family, a newborn son's first weeks on Earth, for boredom. But if you think she was the only one, keep going. Sandra was in London set to premiere the film overseas. She cancelled. Unforeseen personal reasons. Then the most famous woman in the world simply disappeared. No tears for the cameras. No statement. Total silence. The press assumed she was hiding from humiliation. They were wrong. She was guarding something. Within days, it wasn't just one woman anymore. More came forward. Multiple women, stories spanning the length of the marriage. Every year Sandra thought she was building a family, there was allegedly someone else in the shadows of it. Jesse released a statement. His exact words, "There is only one person to blame for this situation and that is me.
No lawyers, no denials."
A confession. Remember the word that made her fall for him? Honest. The one thing she believed he was the one thing he had never been. The honesty itself was the lie. He checked himself into a treatment facility in Arizona. The world went hunting for Sandra. Where was she? Was she destroyed? What she was actually doing during those 6 silent weeks is the part of the story nobody saw coming. And it is the reason this divorce was already signed in her heart before anyone filed a single document. For 6 weeks, she was gone. Untraceable. The biggest star on the planet. She wasn't hiding from a scandal. She was protecting a 2-month-old. She was waking at 3 in the morning for feedings. She was grieving 6 years of her life while paparazzi circled outside. And not once did the world see her crack. Not one stumble. Not one leaked tear. Then on April 28, 2010, People magazine hits every checkout line in America. And on the cover, Sandra Bullock is holding a baby boy the world has never seen. Louis. In one single day, one cover, she revealed 2 things. She had a son. And she had filed for divorce. Think about what those 6 weeks really were. And then think about the move that said everything without a press conference. Sandra completed Louis' adoption alone. As a single mother. The man who broke the family didn't get to keep the family. The divorce was finalized June 28, 2010. Quietly. With dignity. No televised war. No tell-all. 1 month before it was final, Jesse went on national television and said the sentence that followed him forever: "I took a pretty amazing life and marriage and threw it away." He called himself, in his own words, the most hated man in the world. He said it. Not her. Him. 4 years after, Sandra gave the world almost nothing. When tabloids fabricated quotes claiming she'd fallen apart, her team destroyed the stories publicly. Sandra Bullock would not let anyone write her story for her. Not the press. Not Jesse. No one. Then slowly, in her own time, the truth came out. Vogue. Her words: "I'm exactly where I want to be now. You can't go backward. I'm not going backward."
No rage. No revenge.
Just a door closing forever. Then 2018, she went deeper. "My life took a trajectory that wasn't very pleasant, but I feel like it had to happen in order for me to fully understand what family was about." The scandal didn't destroy her idea of family. It revealed it. And then, finally, she gave the answer that explains everything. She described those weeks alone with a newborn and asked the question out loud: how do you process grief without hurting your child in the process? And then came the rule she lived by. Her exact words: "My obligation was to him and not tainting the first year of his life with my grief." Let that sink in. That is why the divorce was inevitable. Not the affair. Not the headlines. The moment Jesse's choices put grief into the same house as her baby's first year of life, the marriage was already over. There was no conversation to have. No counseling to try. Her son would not grow up in a home built on humiliation. And mothers don't go backward. He didn't just betray a wife. He betrayed a brand new mother. And that is a different kind of unforgivable entirely. Jesse eventually admitted what it truly cost him. His words: "I got divorced and lost a kid I adopted because of it." He called losing Louis the most painful part of the entire collapse. The child he could have raised calls another life home now. Because of boredom. And Sandra. She raised Louis exactly the way she promised. Shielded. Loved. Untouched by 2010. In 2015 she adopted a daughter, Layla, on her own terms. She earned another Oscar nomination. She found a love that adored her children. And when life later brought her an unimaginable loss, she stepped away from Hollywood entirely to be the one thing she had sworn to be in those terrible silent weeks: a mother first, always. Remember that Oscar stage from the beginning? 10 days of glory before the collapse. The whole world thought that Golden Night was the best moment of her life. It wasn't even close. The best thing in her life was already home. 2 months old. Sleeping straight through the storm. Never knowing there was a storm, because his mother made absolutely sure of it. Jesse said it best himself. He took a pretty amazing life and threw it away. She took a shattered one and built something better.